What's up, Cloud Gamers? Welcome back to the Cloud Gaming Extreme channel. We're taking a look at Baldur's Gate 3 here, running on a Boosteroid. This is on the PC app, 1080p 60 for the stream. The game's set to 1080p 60 as well, and we'll take a look at a couple different settings options and how performance is looking. But like I said, we are here on the PC app. Now, this isn't an install and play game. It's a standard game here from the library. However, it does have a patch already, a small one, and it does make it act more like an install and play. So if you have a failure to launch, just go in here and make sure that it is updated. Once that's done, the other launcher will come up for you, and you'll be able to log into your account and launch the game. So I did have to kind of manually go through here and do a couple of things to get the game to launch. You will get a thing about the drivers being out of date. That happens on GeForce Now as well, at least at the time of making this video. You can just click through that, get logged in, and launch the game. Now, once we get into the game here, we'll take a look at settings and performance. I tried medium, high, and ultra, and we do have some bottleneck issues or some performance issues, though the game is very playable here. So like I said, 1080p, 60 FPS on the cap, ultra to start with here, and then DLSS I did wind up doing off to start with, and I do wind up turning that on, trying to get some more performance out of things. But this first kind of small town area here in the beginning of the game, after you're in for a couple of hours, does have some performance issues here and there on different systems. So I tried that here on Boosteroid, and we do dip anywhere from 42 FPS back up into the 50s. There does appear to be some possibility of like CPU bottlenecking or whatever happening here on Boosteroid. I don't believe it's a GPU thing. If I go down to high, or as we'll take a look at as well, medium here in a little bit, activate DLSS, put that on quality, we still have trouble holding what kind of frame rate I think we should hold with something like an RTX 6000 in the cloud, and what kind of performance I've seen on other systems. Now, this game does have some performance issues that need to be handled in some patches for sure, and there's some pop-in issues, texture issues, low FPS issues, and drops and things. So not everything falls on the service. The game needs some cleaning up as well, even though it's pretty well done. But there is something else going on here that is causing me to get bigger dips than I would think I would get here with Boosteroid. And I do think that could be a CPU issue if we are 4-core 8-thread, which I think we might be here, versus some other systems that might be 8-core 16 or even 1224. So definitely could be impacting gameplay there. But for the most part, performance isn't game breaking. Everything works decently enough, and you're able to go around and play the game without any major issues. And this is really going to depend on what kind of area you're in, inside, outside, getting farther into the game, larger areas, more enemies on the screen, whatever the case may be. As far as picture quality goes, though, for the stream, Boosteroid's been improving things pretty well for that, and that held out pretty good here for the 1080p 60 on the PC app. Clarity was pretty good, pixelation wasn't too bad, everything looked pretty clean. And not being a fast motion game, a lot of this being turn-based, some of these performance dips and different things like that aren't game breaking. They're just things that you'll notice, especially if you're looking at the FPS, going in and out of menus and going in different areas of the game. But all in all, pretty good. And this game does support controller or mouse and keyboard. So I'm using controller here, which I had no problem with on Boosteroid using the Xbox controller. The mapping for this game is pretty good, the way they set up controller support, so you can play either way you want to with Boosteroid, whether it be your controller or mouse and keyboard, which is great because that means it's easier to play this game on devices like a phone or a tablet that you're more likely to have like a backbone or something like that for. Performance in your camp that you might be going to quite often is actually pretty good. It's more optimized in other areas of the game. I think we'll see some patches pretty soon that'll help fix up the game. As far as some of the possible bottleneck issues on Boosteroid, those may remain persistent if there are any CPU issues with the game there. But all in all, performance, again, very playable and works pretty decent here for Boosteroid. Input latency is another thing that Boosteroid has really improved, and that holds true here as well. Even though I don't have to make a lot of quick choices or actions, it does work really well. The latency isn't hardly noticeable here for me, but I have a great connection. I'm only a few hours away from the server. But anyways, guys, I think I'll just leave it there. Performance is pretty good for Boosteroid. It's definitely playable, but the game itself does have some of its own oddities that need straightened out, and possibly some things on Boosteroid as well, and some updated drivers could help a lot of that too. So alright guys, thanks a lot for coming and checking out the video. As always, we really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one.